Welcome to Chatsunami, a Scottish variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interest. Join me, your host, Satsunami, as well as the rest of our Chatsunami team for our takes on these very important pop culture topics.
Sir, it's clearly a trap. I accept your fate!
That happens 3 times in the film. Like every time that general goes, don't do this one thing, he goes, do you know what I'm gonna do? That's exact.
It does as well. She had the pointy teeth. What was that about?
She looked like Bilbo when he wants the ring back.
She did, didn't she? I just want the lightsaber one more time.
Parasite says, no, you will get back into your office and work.
No, says the man in Zoom. Yeah. Trousers are for the working man.
You're bursting into your hotel room. Honey, we need to go.
Leave the kids. You can milk an oddish. Oh!
That's the worst thing you've ever said in any of the episodes.
If that sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out at our website, chatsunami.com, as well as all good podcast apps. As always, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.
Stay classy and have a banana. This has been Satsunami.
I'm sorry. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Chatsunami. My name's Satsunami and joining me today is none other than the co-founder, social media manager and recent director of Sonic Paradox. It is Tyronic. Tyronic, welcome to Chatsunami.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too shabby. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. Just Sunday in it, so just chilling. Long day of work, you know. Long week of work, not day. Don't work on weekends. But yeah, all good.
Oh no, that's great to hear. I know what you mean, because you know when it gets to Sunday and you have those Sunday anxieties of like, oh god, tomorrow's another work day.
Yeah, I feel that. Absolute pain. But sure, you have these like 12 or so hours of bliss before the existential crisis sort of comes back in, you know.
Usually my Sundays are just made up of me editing and things. I'm like, oh god, I'm going to have to go back to this tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, tell me about it. I know a lot about editing, especially for SP.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because, yeah, as I was saying, you're, of course, the co-founder and social media manager for Sonic Paradox, which I have to say, every time I hear the name Sonic Paradox, it grabs me and launches me back into the past.
Absolutely. I mean, it's what, 20 years now? There's still people who don't know that we're still going. So if we ever make like a viral clip or something, or something goes a bit beyond our normal audience, you'll get a, oh my God, I thought they were gone. My childhood, I didn't know you were still going. All that stuff. You get it a lot.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, out of curiosity, what sparked you to start Sonic Paradox? Because I have to say, I did feel old when I was reading when it started, and am I correct in saying it was 2005 the wheels started turning for it?
That is correct, yeah. So going all the way back to 2005, I was 15. Back then was the Newgrounds days. You know, all of your favourite animations, even to this day, probably started in Newgrounds, you know. The Friday Night Funkin', Smiling Friends, obviously Ego Raptor and Game Grumps, all that stuff all started in Newgrounds. But back then we were just all teenagers making edgy content, you know. So a girl called, her username was SweetCat22, she put a forum thread up for a Sonic animation collab, which is basically just take a few parts, use the song Open Your Hearts by Crush 40, then make like a music video with those parts. So everyone signed up to do a part, and then it took a few months and then that was released. So that did quite well. Even to this day, quality of animation, you know, some are like studio quality, some have their own sort of styles, you know. We'd never say someone is bad at animation because animation takes a lot of time. Just people have their own way of doing it, you know. My animation for that collab is only about 8 seconds and a lot of it's like static imagery and a couple of little effects, you know. I was 15, barely knew what I was doing, you know. But yeah, so after that we were like, okay, well, let's do another one, but let's take it off the Newgrounds forum, because the forum was great, but it was very, very cluttered, you know. It wasn't dedicated to what we wanted to do. So I was like, okay, I'll create a forum for it. And then back in the day, again, it was like Envision free power boards. They were the message boards that you made, you know, in 2005 because they were easy to make, PHP boards. So looked it up, created a board, and at the same time, Doctor Who had just restarted the new series.
Oh, yeah. And
I heard the term time paradox in one of the episodes. I think it's one of the episodes with the Master, I believe. And yeah, I was like, oh, that's a really cool word. And Sonic Paradox, that sounds cool. And then that's what I called the forum. And then it all kind of snowballed from there, you know. know?
I'm not going to lie, you are utterly slapping me down with nostalgia right now.
Yeah, that's what I do best, you know?
It is an interesting time that it was started because am I right in remembering that it was the height of and no offence to any of the Sonic fans who might disagree with this term, but it was the height of the dark age of Sonic, wasn't it? Where it was like 2003 you had Sonic Heroes, and then 2005 you had the one and only Shadow the Hedgehog.
Hell yeah.
I wish I could be like that, but anyway, just that cool. But I do remember that time because I remember being really excited about when that game came out and everything. When you watch the Sonic Paradox jokes and things, there are a lot of references to that time. You know, you had Shadow the Hedgehog, you had Sonic 06 and things.
Yep.
It's just like a great encapsulation of how fans felt at the time.
Absolutely. Obviously, things like Heroes was pretty decently received. Like, I personally loved Heroes, but I can see why it was kind of hit or miss for people. First ever proper multi-platform Sonic 3D game, different quality on different consoles. Like the PS2 version was nigh unplayable, you know. And then, as you say, Shadow came out in 2005, and even back then, the whole Sonic with a gun thing, that was widely mocked in the press, and Sonic fans were just like, oh, well, you know, we'll get to hear more about Shadow's story. That's really cool, but we don't really get why the gun thing's happening, but you know, whatever. It's Sega trying to be edgy. That's a very edgy time as well back then. So yeah, and obviously 06. I mean, we've all heard enough about 06. I don't need to explain what went wrong there, you know. See, while those games were mediocre, and they were mediocre, I mean, I love each and every one of them for their own special reasons, but you know, objectively, 06 wasn't great, and Shadow could play decently well in some levels, but the layout was awful. And anyway, even though the games were not the best quality, and it was, as you say, the sort of dark ages of the franchise, the music and the art and the animation, the direction of things within the games, the cutscenes, things like that, even though the games themselves weren't great, all of that stuff was still fantastic. I mean, 06 and Shadow both have absolutely banging soundtracks, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that are still being referenced to this day in your games. Like, that's how iconic they are. So while the games themselves as a whole package weren't the best, the stuff that came from those games was enough to keep fans going back in the day. And that obviously inspired a lot of people to make fan comics, fan animations, fan music, all sorts of stuff back then. So believe, even if you get a bad game in the Sonic franchise, there'll still either be a fan of it or there'll be something good about that game that can be used in a different way. And I feel like that kind of helped us a lot when we were making Sonic shorts and things like that.
No, absolutely. Because I mean, even though you can see that people were ripping on, for example, Sonic 06, you could see that there was, I mean, maybe a hint of love for it is a bit too strong, but you know, you could see that these were genuine fans that were going in and they weren't just saying, oh, it's a glitchy mess and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up in that time the same as me, so you probably know exactly the jokes I'm talking about, where it was just kind of the same talking points over and over again. And I have to admit, one of my friends, the only reason he knows about Sonic is through me because he's not a Sonic fan. And I'm like, well, tough, you're going to sit down and listen. And he sent me a link the other day because I was telling him that we're going to be talking today. And he's like, can you please bring up the fact that on, I don't know if it's one of the fan wikis, there's a Wikipedia page for, you know, the move that Mephiles uses in Sonic 06, and it's just called the move that kills Sonic. And he's like, can you ask about that? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, to be honest.
I saw that the other day, and I love that. What a great name. Fans might have been calling it something like, you know, Chaos Spike or something, you know, back in the day, because obviously it's a shadow of Shadow, isn't it? But no, the move that killed Sonic is a fantastic name, and I have no notes, to be honest. That's perfect. Kind of encapsulates a lot of things from back then, you know?
I mean, I can't wait when the IDW comics or Ian Flynn picks it up and he's like, you know what, we're going to just name it the move that kills Sonic.
Come on, guys, we got to stop the move that kills Sonic.
Just Big the Cat going, leave this to me. It's like, oh no.
Fishing rod out, you know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I would hate to see that.
Absolutely, me too.
But see, when you started Sonic Paradox with, again, all of those fantastic creators, because, I mean, as you said, there are so many varying styles and varying jokes and things. As I said, I rewatched a lot of it. The amount of jokes that I wouldn't say repressed, because that's negative, but, you know, I'd kind of forgotten about. And then I was was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. Like the Eggman dancing topless, press X to slide,
Yeah.
Sonic using Tails as an invincible shield and everything. And the OC skit as well. You know, just so many really amazing skits. But see, back then, did you think it was going to be as popular as it is today?
Oh, no, not at all. We assumed back then, and to an extent, it's still the same today. We were making them because we wanted to, and it was fun, and it was something to do. We enjoyed making Sonic content. Around that sort of time, it would have been like 2008-ish, or established a little bit, but like around 2008 is when Sonic Shorts properly started. Back then, it was mostly the Wax. He took the helm of a lot of things because around that time, I was just finishing secondary school and going to university. So I kept an eye on it and made the odd thing. I would contribute music to certain shorts and stuff. I would maybe do the odd animation, but he kept the boat going. And in my uni days, I would go back and check the forum and check the channel and things like that just to see how it was getting on. And I remember one time, it must have been like the second year uni or something. I was just like, oh, let's see what SP is up to. You know, I haven't really caught up with the guys in a while because we had like our own little Skype group and stuff, but I had obviously had the channel in Newgrounds. I just remember seeing the amount of like subs and stuff we started getting on YouTube and the amount of views we started getting on our videos. I was like, hold on a minute, like when did this happen? You know, this is crazy. And it's because, like I say, a really good dedicated group of animators like the OGs, obviously like Wax Boozer Man, you know, Recorder Dude, Bitmaster, Celeste, plenty others I haven't got time to mention, you know. But yeah, no, we didn't think it was going to be as big as it ended up being. We didn't think we'd be some mainstay in the fandom for 20 odd years, you know. It's a great privilege to know that people really enjoy the content that much. It's a great privilege also to meet people at conventions and go on podcasts like this where we can talk about it. And people who were children, literal 5-year-olds, when they may have started watching us, even though they shouldn't have because that's not age appropriate, but you know. Yeah. They're in their 20s now, like mid-20s. They've done university. Some of them actually help animate with us for our projects now. So they grew up with SP and now they're part of SP. And they say it's inspired them to take up animation and that's why they're doing what they're doing today. And that is my favorite thing to hear. If someone says they watched your channel as a kid and it inspired them to start animating and now they're doing XYZ projects wherever, you know, that's sick. That is so cool. You get that a lot at conventions. People will approach you because we don't sell anything at conventions. We just do panels and then get a table so we can just chat to fans, you know. And some of the conversations are so nice. It's stuff like that. So had no idea that we would last this long. Glad we have. Yeah.
How did it feel? See, the first time you were invited to do a panel in one of these conventions, were you nervous about it or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely bricking it, you know. A lot of the teams based in America, some of the teams based here in the UK. The first one that I did personally was Summer of Sonic 2013, so 13 years ago, and we were showing off Metropolis Mayhem and Sonic Shorts Volume 8 for the first time. So myself and Time 8th and Boozerman were all invited to this London convention, and that's the first time I've done one. There's ancient grainy footage of it on YouTube somewhere because it was a live stream that got recorded. I'm on stage with those two guys. You can see me wearing a little Iron Man t-shirt and stuff, a little young nerd. I do this thing while I'm talking. I'm constantly pulling on the left hand of my t-shirt. It's a nervous tick, you know, because I'd never spoke in front of so many people. That doesn't matter what about, even if they're all Sonic fans. Back then I was like, oh my God, there's so many people here. And I'm sitting there like saying what I say and pulling my t-shirt. And it all went really well, you know, it was all fine. But the initial nerves of getting up there, like being introduced and then getting on stage and talking to people, my goodness, that was terrifying. These days, it's a lot easier and a lot more fun because I've done it a few times now. What was it? SonicCon in London there.
Oh, yeah.
That just passed. That was fantastic. It was the biggest crowd that we ever got. It was insane. Hats off to the RakuCon guys who set it all up. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, biggest crowd we've ever had, biggest stage I've ever been on, and it went swimmingly. It went so well because once you've done it a few times, you kind of get into the rhythm of it, you know. If there's no technical difficulties, which there wasn't, but there can be, then it'll all go fine. But there is like you still get that little sort of feeling in your stomach, that wee bit of nerves before you go on. But as soon as you're up there and doing your thing, it's fine. You're with people who are there for the same reason you are, for your love of this silly franchise.
Oh no, absolutely. Because I mean, in the past, I haven't been in any panels or anything, but I've been to Comic-Cons and things where I've talked to people there and I've interviewed them, and I am just a bundle of nerves. I'm like, tell me your favourite thing about Comic-Con, please. So I can go.
Say sentences. Speak.
And then by the end of it, I'm like, that wasn't that bad. But at the beginning of the day, I'm just shaking like, oh my God.
Absolutely. You get it. It's that nervy sort of feeling, you know, but as soon as you get into it, it's like you start flowing and it's okay. But that setup, it's like, oh God, what do I do?
It's when all the eyes are on you. Like, you know, when you did a project Sonic to uni or school or something, and it's all the eyes and they're looking silently. You're like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm being judged. Oh no.
Today's project, the move that killed Sonic.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah. Did my PhD at? No, I'm only joking. For legal reasons, I don't have a PhD in Sonic. I think half of us should at this point.
We may as well, you know.
I know, true. But out of curiosity, speaking of the origin of Sonic Paradox and things, I've got to ask, what was the game that got you into this franchise? What was the one that dug its talons into you and said, okay, you're a Sonic fan now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my dad had a Mega Drive when I was a kid, and that's how I initially got into the whole franchise. Out of the classic games, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favourite, but I think Sonic 2 stuck with me more because I had that for longer and I played it a hell of a lot more than I did Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So I think the initial interest and I'm going to follow this franchise was Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because that was like a proper big childhood game for me. And it's just when I finally got that and did the whole lock-on technology and saw this mega game in 2 cartridges, as a kid you don't forget that because you'd never seen anything like that before, you know, absolutely mind-blowing. And in terms of sort of later as well, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 will always be my favorite 3D Sonic games. Introduced the whole hard rock aspect with like Crush 40 and that, voices for the first time, a kind of Final Fantasy-esque plot with God destroying monsters and that type of thing, you know, and Super Sonic in 3D, of course. But I remember fondly, it was my 10th birthday, no, my 11th birthday, because Sonic Adventure 2 came out in June 2001, I want to say, for the 10th anniversary. I remember, because my birthday is like in June as well, close to Sonic's, funnily enough. And I remember going into town and going to either game or electronics boutique back in the day and getting Sonic Adventure 2. And then my mum taking me out for lunch to just, obviously it's my birthday, so she's buying me like a sandwich or a burger or whatever. And I'm sitting there obviously enjoying my burger, but like this game is in my hands and I keep looking at the manual, I keep opening it up, I just want to get home. I just want to get home and play it, you know, for the Dreamcast. And I remember very, very fondly going through that game, finding all the secrets, the whole last story thing, the fact that Green Hill Zone's there in 3D if you get all the emblems, all that stuff. And back then as well, the internet was in its very, very early stages in terms of like online gaming and cheats and things like that. So there was a cheat website back in the day called GameWinners.com, but it had no moderation. So, you know, playground rumors you would get about like unlocking Mew and Pokemon, like that type of thing, they were happening for every single game on that website. So it's like, I'll play as Super Sonic in every level. You can get Hyper Knuckles if you do this thing in Sonic Adventure 2. Obviously, all of it was bull. None of it was true at all. But as a kid, your mind goes everywhere because you couldn't prove or disprove it. So you would try these things and you would fail and you'd be annoyed. But it weirdly sort of gave those games more longevity back then as well. So I'd say Sonic 3 and Knuckles would be my favorite older game, but Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, my favorite, I can't even say modern anymore, but my favorite 3D games. Of those two, I think Sonic Adventure 2 pips it just because of Shadow and that whole story and gets slightly better animations and all that. But they're both very, very high up there for me.
No, I'm totally with you there. And something that struck a chord there was when you were saying that you couldn't wait to read the manual.
Oh, yeah. You remember new game smell as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I even remember, I think I was in this is how old I am, is like I was in Blockbuster and I remember seeing Sonic Heroes, and for some reason I think I was drifting off the series at that point. I was like, wait, they made a new Sonic game? I was like, hell yeah. And I couldn't wait, and I was reading the manual. I was like, oh, who's this new mystery character? He looks like Sonic. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now. But I actually remember I was in a similar situation where I ended up getting Sonic Adventure 2, and I got the bus home and I was like, oh, I can't wait to play this. And then one of my friends from school came over at the time and I was like, go away, I want to play Sonic.
I want to play my games.
And obviously I was polite, I didn't say that. I'm like,
yeah.
You know the way you're sitting and they're not a Sonic fan, so they're like, oh, this isn't great. And it's like, you shush.
It's like I've been waiting years for this moment. Let me have it, please.
Don't you ruin this for me.
These are core memories, you know. I want to keep them pure.
Yeah. But I know exactly what you mean. My friend Martin McAllister and I, we did an episode on Pokemon rumours, and one of the things that we pointed out was it's amazing how, even without the internet at the time, how widespread the same type of rumour was. I genuinely think that with the rise of dial-up internet, especially in as you said, all of these different forms popping up, that you got the same ones like Hyper, Shadow, and as you said, you could transform right away into Supersonic at the middle of City Escape, and it's like, no, we're not as Sonic Generations yet.
I know, and I remember for years I was so annoyed that they took away the ability to go super at will in the retro games, and it took, like I said, it took till Generations to make that a reality. But every 3D game I was like, look, I just want to play Supersonic. Final bosses are cool, but I want to play them. But because the Chaos Emeralds are so plot relevant in all those games, you can't just collect them and transform, which was really, really annoyed me when I was growing up,
Do you not think, and I could totally be wrong in this, but I think it was after Sonic Unleashed that they started to kind of move away from the climax being Sonic transforming into super form and beating the bad guy, because I think after Unleashed, where he does that, Sonic colors and forces, and apologies to anyone who got triggered when they heard Sonic forces there.
Classic.
But it's like they removed Supersonic. Same with, and I could be wrong, but did Lost World not do that as well? Where they're like, nah, you're not getting the Chaos Emeralds today.
Yeah, well, Generations had the Supersonic final boss, but also you could transform in level. I believe Lost World, I can't remember there being a Supersonic fight at the end, but I'm not going to lie, I didn't even beat that game.
Same.
Yeah. It's funny, that summer of Sonic 2013 that it did, Sega actually sponsored that one, and they brought demo kiosks for Lost World before it came out. So we got to play it there, and I played half an hour, and I was like, this just ain't for me. This is Sonic Galaxy, but it's slow. What's the appeal? So never really, and obviously the Deadly Six. I'm so glad they're a meme these days because they're awful, awful villains.
Yeah.
I think it was, around that time they stopped doing the whole, like, Chaos Emeralds obviously still very integral to the plots, but, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Supersonic final boss anymore. I like the fact that it opens up the possibility of having him in levels and stuff again. Although I actually love what they did with him in Frontiers, the fact that you fought all the Titans as Supersonic, so you collected the emeralds in each island. I thought that was really, really cool.
I feel like they were compensating in that game when
have all the Supersonic.
It's like, you get a Supersonic fight, you get a Supersonic fight.
Legit Supersonic bargain sale.
Yeah, exactly. I take it that was a DBZ reference.
Absolutely. Huge fan. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure there.
Of course.
Because honestly, see the overlap between Dragon Ball Z and Sonic, it was just absolutely insane back in the day. Was it Chakra X who did Nazo Unleashed?
Yeah.
I mean, that was generation defining in terms of fan animation.
Absolutely. There was also, it's called Sonic X Chaotic Battle and Sonic X Cosmic Chase, I believe they were called. They were huge as well. They used like Guilty Gear X music for them, so it was like proper heavy guitar solos, and it was just like Super Sonic and Super Shadow fighting and stuff, but it was very, very Dragon Ball coded. In fact, we made when Adobe, what was Flash back then, when they discontinued Flash, before Newgrounds had a thing to preserve everything, we went like, they're getting rid of Flash, let's approach some of the older Sonic animators from back in the day, and we'll release their animations on our channel with their permission as like a sort of Flash classic sort of series. And Sonic X Cosmic Chase and stuff was part of that, and it was so cool, like revisiting that, just seeing what inspired me to really get into animation as well, because it was those other artists, but yeah, it was all about Dragon Ball and Sonic, and every fight that a fan made, every animation was very, very Dragon Ball coded. There's a really, really good one, it's a sprite animation, but it's called Sonic's Quest for Power, made by a guy called Legend Vegito, so that tells you how much Dragon Ball DNA was in it. And my goodness, it is the most OP, over the top, stupidly insane fight scenes I've ever, and this is like 23 years ago or something this was made, and oh my goodness, it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, the parallels have always been there. I also like the fact that the design document for 06, when that finally appeared online, Silver's character sheet basically said, think Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, yeah, there we go, that's confirmed then, isn't it?
Because I did love that when Sonic 06 came out, and it's like, Sonic's like Goku, Shadow's like Vegeta, it's like, oh my god, it's Trunks. legit this hedgehog from the future, honestly, it was so
and a broken future that he needs to fix by going to the past.
Suspicious.
Yeah, a little bit sus,
Slap a sword on him, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Easy. Let him equip the move that killed Sonic. That's pretty much a sword,
Weirdly enough, the only time that's popped up again is, I think, Sonic X Shadow Generations.
Yeah.
I think that's a picture they use in the wiki as well. It's like,
yeah, poor Mephiles being like, I want to live. live when you're fighting him as well. Oh, it's just like, you know what, Mephiles, you were in a bad game, but I wouldn't mind you reappearing at some point. But
Yeah.
that boss fight in Generations was just depression.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like literally erasing someone from existence.
Do you know, I always find that weird that there's a lot of really good characters and otherwise bad games in the Sonic franchise that are like, no, we're not going to approach them with a 10-foot barge pole, we're not going to bring them in. And then I remember I was flicking through I think it's the Metal Virus arc, and I have to say, I haven't kept up with the comics in absolutely years and years, but when I read that, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. You know, it tickled that right amount of, it's edgy, but at the same time, it's not too edgy, it goes on ridiculous. And I was like, how is this going to unfold? And then, if you read it, sorry, before I go on.
Like I've read bits and bobs of the Metal Virus. I know the gist and how it ends and how Sonic has to keep going fast, not to die, etc.
Yeah. And then there's that one set of villains that they brought back, and it was like the Interstellar moment where I was like, no, don't bring them back. Would you bring them back? Why are you making them more relevant?
Yeah, IDW is great for that, you know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you. And then you get to Sonic Cross Worlds and it's like, oh, Zavok, wow.
I genuinely think Sega are just doing that as a joke. You know what I mean? How many games has Zavok been in that he's just, go away, stop trying to make Zavok happen. He's not going to happen. He's legit, like, he's the biggest meme villain of the entire series. It's so stupid.
It's whenever I see him, and after I did laugh in Forces where it was like, oh my god, it's Chaos, Shadow, Metal Sonic, you!
That guy. Legit. Like, imagine giving him as much reverence as those classic villains. Like, he's not on their tier at all, and it's ridiculous that they think he is.
Honestly, they could have put an egg pawn in there, and I would have been like,
yeah,
you know what?
I would have appreciated that. Yeah, would have been way better.
Who is this Joker?
It's legit. Doesn't even go here.
Do you even go here? No.
No.
Okay, you can go.
I just have a lot of villainous feelings.
But I mean, yeah, you do look at, going back to Dragon Ball for a second, it is amazing how it inspired so much of the art and things back in the day, and especially looking back at the different animations, because, I mean, was it not Super Mario Bros. Z or something that came out at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was an insane crossover animation. Really cool. Very, very highly regarded even to this day. I think the guy who made it did a remaster recently as well. But yeah, what they did with Mecha Sonic and that was so cool. Like, made him like a proper powerful villain. Yeah, it's just really smoothly animated. Fantastic. But yeah, again, more Dragon Ball parallels, even in the Mario universe this time. It somehow works, you know?
Because, I mean, I wish I could say I was completely immune to that, and I was like, yeah, none of my characters or anything DBZ related or anything I made. But I was actually watching the other day, and this is in the Bebo days, how long ago it was. I used to have a gaming group, and I decided for some weird reason to start a YouTube channel. It's lost to time now, that's all I'll say, because I'm not bringing up the name. But I remember I made I think it was on Windows Movie Maker or something. That's how basic it was. You know that scene, I think it was Goku powering up to Super Saiyan 3? And it is, like, the animation's terrible. It's just like, I've got the mouth moving, and it's just 2 frames, so it's like one with his mouth open, one with it closed. And I remember reading the comments again, and this is 12 to 50, if I know, it would have been longer, years and years ago. There's all these people going, oh my god, this is sick, oh, this is cool, I'm actually big, wouldn't be King Kai? And I'm like, Jesus, I made this when I was like just leaving high school. I was like, what?
Oh no, I remember those kind of projects really well. I actually, because again, growing up in the internet back then, I made a Dragon Ball music video because everyone else did, you know. I used Disturbed's Shout 2000. Shout, let it, all like that one. And it was the Goku and Majin Vegeta fight, as well as the Gohan going Super Saiyan 2 against Cell. That's what I used in mine. And again, you mentioned Windows Movie Maker. That's what sparked that memory, because that's what I used for that as well. Our first editing software was always Windows Movie Maker, you know.
Because I always loved, see, when you went onto YouTube at that time and you could clearly tell that somebody used Windows Movie Maker, because it was like, remember the transitions and things?
Yeah, the blue background. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and it's all the typos and things.
Yeah. Unregistered hypercam in the top left. Hell yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but there was a streamer I remember watching during the lockdowns, and as a joke, that was one of the subscriber claims where they could change the filter over it, and it was like just unregistered hypercam at the top of their screen, and I thought, wow, that is a blast from the past.
Fantastic. I love that. I really do.
As I was saying at the very beginning, you told me that you'd indeed directed some of the later entries into the Sonic shorts.
Yeah.
And as well, Casino Colossal Calamity, which, by the way, congratulations, because I think as soon as you released that, every single Sonic fan was summoned to that one point. And I was like, oh my god, it's finally out.
Yeah, thank you. Like, goodness me, what a project.
Yeah, how was it?
It's a bit of a strange one because Team Rose, which the wax animated, that was done years ago. We've actually had the completed song written and mastered since 2013. The MP3's just been sitting there for years. Bunch of animators, again, we were all growing up at that time, so a bunch of animators who initially committed just couldn't work on it anymore, which is completely fine, you know, life happens. But every time we tried to get people to animate, we tried to recruit people, we did all sorts, we did bounties, you know, like complete X amount of animation, you can have X amount of money, everything. We threw everything we could at people to try and get this done. And then they eventually kind of just stopped working on it as well. So it just became this little stain, you know, it was like, we'll have a good bunch of this done, but we need a lot more done, but no one's really willing to commit at the minute. Then obviously the channel got hacked and stuff, and we lost it for a couple of years. And then when we got the channel back, we made like Sonic Seconds. We're like, okay, we're not going to make Sonic Shorts yet, but we need to tell people we're still kicking. So let's make Sonic Seconds, just bite-sized Sonic Shorts, basically. And then when that went well, we started getting our audience back and stuff. And then started getting invited to conventions and things again. And then we released Volume 9, which is the 40-minute long Sonic Shorts, because it was the big return to form, you know. We're like, okay, we've got Volume 9 out there. Volume 10 is releasing in like 6 months. So let's take another look at Casino Calamity. And Wax was like, look, I'll be there in an advisory role, but I'm not touching it because I've tried and it just hasn't worked. And I'm exhausted on that project. I was like, okay. So last February, about a year ago, I made a massive spreadsheet, right? Split it, every unfinished piece into like sort of 5 to 10 to 15 second to up to 30-second shorts, basically. And 27 parts, I think it was. Sort of separated them by teams, so chaotic, Sonic, dark, etc. Put an explanation of what was needed in that scene, whether there were any resources like storyboards or animatics or anything like that, along with a clip of the audio that would use and a clip of where it would be in the full timeline. It's really meticulous, basically. And we didn't have anyone at this point. I was just setting it up so we could then start getting people to help with it. But thankfully, because we had released Sonic Shorts and we met a bunch of brand new animators, again, ones that are, some are just 19, early 20s, so they're just starting and they're already really good, you know. We basically approached our Sonic Shorts animators where we're like, look, we're going to revive CC, but this is how it's going to work. If you want to take part, react to this message, and then, you know, Toronto will get in touch with you, blah, blah, blah. So eventually carried a lot of them over to the Calamity server, explained, here's all the parts, tell me what part you want to take, and we'll kind of keep an eye on it over the coming months. And it just kind of flowed from there, you know. So yeah, it kind of slowly started coming together over the past year. Around October time, we were still missing people for Team Chaotix. Some parts weren't filled in, so some animators took more than one part, which is really cool. I was sitting there, like every time I got a new part, I was throwing it into the next edit of Casino Calamity to see what it looked like, what it flowed like, etc. If there were parts I felt I could contribute to in terms of, you've done the meat of it, but I feel like this angle could be better, or we could put this there or whatever, I would jump in with my girlfriend Nicole. She's an artist as well, so she'd do a background for some people. I might animate a certain piece just to add to somebody's part. It's just a whole thing. Eventually, late December, we're pretty much done. There was just quality of life stuff to do, and then it was just getting the credits and trying to find out over the past 13 years who did what, who voiced that egg robo 13 minutes in, and that was quite a task. But we'll have one of the other project leads, Mac, he had an old credits file from years ago, so we could pull from that, you know. So we'll manage to fully credit, I think, everyone. I think we missed one or two, but after they made themselves known, we made sure to add them in the descriptions of videos and things like that. And it finally came together, and it was just insane that we got there in the end. Myself and Mateus and Mac and Wax were really looking after that, and I'm proud of them for what they did, what they contributed, and I'm really, not gonna lie, I'm really proud of myself for getting it out the door, you know, because that was always our white whale, always the one that we couldn't finish. And yeah, it was received quite well, so we were happy enough. And we will be making more, but they're not going to be 14 minutes long. You know, they're going to be short, concise, maybe 4 minutes, and a lot tighter. And we're not going to really announce any release dates until we have a lot of content to show this time, you know?
Oh no, absolutely, because it sounds like, as you were saying there, one heck of a task just compiling it together. Because I was going to ask, when you were saying like, you'd worked on the other Sonic shorts and things, and you'd worked on Casino Calamity, sorry to put you on the spot, but what type of video do you prefer to work on? Is it much of a sameness, or do you prefer the more musical ones, or?
I suppose it depends. It's really cool seeing the musicals come together, watching the development and seeing the vision. And when it's with music as well, it's a very tight sort of production, because you're not going on 100 different jokes throughout the one video. You're focused on this one piece of music. So it's really cool to work on them. In terms terms of the shorts, though, they're quite fun to work on in terms of editing as well, because when I'm making previews, if we're going to a con, for example, I can put those shorts in any order I want, but that might not necessarily be the final order. But it's like, oh, what would do good at a convention? How complete are these shorts, and how much can we show here to get people excited? So they're really, really fun to kind of chop and change. I've done a bit of animation for Sonic Seconds as well, and I'll be doing animation for this new musical and the new Sonic Shorts volume. So it's kind of nice to get back into that, because I mainly focus on editing and music at the moment for Sonic Paradox, as well as the social media stuff. But I have been sort of getting back into animation and background drawing and script writing, things like that as well. I feel like in terms of like those two types, I think overall working on the musicals is more fulfilling because the end product is just a whole nother beast. But working on the shorts is cool because it's like a bite-sized thing each time. I could start working on a short myself, and that's really fulfilling if I get one done from start to finish and then that appears in Sonic Shorts, you know. And just because I'm one of the co-founders or whatever, it doesn't mean something I say just gets in there. If I write a really crappy script, it's going to get rejected, and that's fine. You know what I mean? It has to be approved, not just by me, but by others as well. So I like that we'll have that kind of quality control too. But overall, it's just fun working on things like that. It's just great seeing people's visions from script to storyboard to fully animated, and then knowing what's going to land and waiting for the reaction of people when we actually release that thing as well. A lot of very talented people work with us, and we're really thankful for them. So yeah, I just enjoy doing it overall.
Are you surprised that a series like Sonic has just spawned so much? Again, when I say art, you know, there's some absolutely fantastic art pieces, but you know, there's also music, there's of course your work, there's a lot of stories and things. Are you surprised that this wee blue hedgehog, as it were, has just spawned such a explosive impact within this fandom?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that it's as popular as it still is, like the franchise in general. I truly believe the movie really propelled that popularity back into proper mainstream, you know. He's never not been popular, but he's been niche over the early 2010s and stuff and late 2000s. But then these movies have brought in a whole bunch of new fans, or reminded people that actually Sonic exists and it's still a cool fandom, and it's brought everyone back. So I'm not surprised in the sense that the movies have really helped. I am surprised in the sense that the quality of the stuff we're getting is just insane, and that's from Sega themselves and from fans. There's a gent called, I think it's Lixes or Lixes. He does like 3D animation. He makes this, it's like movie quality stuff, and he's just a guy who just likes making 3D animation, you know. It's like this new generation of talent, of people who draw, who animate, who make music. It's just insane. It's like a bottomless well of insane talent, and it's really, really cool to see, you know. I could be the old man yells at clouds, you know, and just fold my arms and look down and be like, oh well, we were the OGs or whatever. But no, like I will fully admit a lot of these people are better than what we can do, and that's great. That's really, really good to see, because the more talent like that, the more great content the fandom gets. So it's really, really cool to see. If you had to ask me this question in 2010, I'd be like, yeah, this franchise is dying. You know, we're on our last legs. Hopefully it lasts another couple of years, but like now it's just completely revived, which is really, really cool to see.
Because something that I do find interesting that Sega, and especially with the Paramount films as well, on a side note, I don't know if it was the same for, I'm assuming you saw it in the cinema when it came out.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Because I didn't see the first one, but I went to see the second and third one, and maybe it was just the time I went for the third one, but it was literally me, my partner, and there was like a couple of families in the front and the back. And other than the one child that yelled at the back, oh my god, it's Shadow. I feel as if I was the most excited one in the room, because I think the kids were kind of kicking their feet, they were getting distracted, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Live and Learn.
Honestly, you're describing my Sonic 3 experience as well, unfortunately. You know, me and Nicole went to a cinema in Belfast because I was visiting my family in Ireland. We went there, and it was, obviously, me and Nicole are super excited. We got a picture with the standee outside and stuff, like, oh my god, finally we're seeing Sonic 3. And we went in, and it was like us and then a bunch of youths, we'll say, at the back of the cinema, just being just prats, you know, making noise and being annoying. And I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this film for like a year and a half, and these absolute morons behind me are doing my bloody head. And I was like, oh god, powered through it, ignored them, had a great time. Yeah, because I didn't see it on day one. I waited a couple of days, and I think the American fans will always outnumber fans here. We do have a very, very dedicated group of UK fans that go to the cons and stuff, and some really, really talented people. As far as the cinema trips, that one was quite quiet. Like Sonic 2 had quite a few people, because I saw that on the day it came out, and Sonic 1 had quite a few as well, but people were still unsure if it was going to be good or not. So I go see the Mario movies as well, because I feel like if I'm going to see a Sonic movie, I need to see the Mario ones, you know. So I'm looking forward to Galaxy in a couple of months. Personally, Sonic 3 in insane. Loved it. Couldn't do anything better. Gerald, maybe characterization was a bit weird, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. But beyond that, I thought it was fantastic, and I'm really, really looking forward to 4. Amy's Nicole's favorite character, so that whole part was incredible. You know, the post-credits scene, so good.
Because I keep seeing people post countdowns to be like, Sonic 4's coming out soon. And it's like, that was next year. I mean, back then it was like 2 or 3 years off. It's coming soon.
I know, it's like 2027. Talk to me about it in February next year. You know, that's how I feel. I'm really excited for it, but it's too early for me to get hyped. You know what I mean?
Same. Because I mean, I remember for the third one, they kept replaying the same trailer, but they didn't really release that trailer until really late. And I remember backlash. Everyone was like, fine, I'm not going to see it. Fine, this is ridiculous. And then when it did come out, they're like, we're sorry, Sega.
You're like, oh my God. Yeah. They kept playing that at conventions and stuff, but like in closed sort of rooms. So you get a big description of that trailer, but you wouldn't see it for months afterwards. But I mean, when that trailer came out though, oh my God, how good was that?
Good. Because I have to say, the first film, when it came out, I never went to the cinema to see it. I think I watched it on Netflix during the lockdowns because I was like, yeah, it looks all right. But, you know, because of the ugly Sonic and everything, I think that really dented it initially, even though I think I meant to be bringing out an ugly Sonic cut off, which I don't know how true that is, but if it is, then I'll definitely watch it because that's hilarious.
Yeah, I believe the group's called the 2019 cut, I think they're called. They're trying to cut a version of the film that has ugly Sonic in it. I've been sort of keeping an eye on that project, but there's been accusations of AI and all sorts. So I'm like, oh, is this going to release? I mean, I hope it does, because again, if they do release it, I will 100% watch that just for the novelty of it, you know? But yeah, hopefully it comes out and hopefully it's as bad/good as we want it to be, you know?
I mean, I can't imagine what ugly Sonic in supersonic form would be like. I think that would be terrifying because, God, I think this was either 2021 or 2022. My friend Adam and I, he wasn't really much of a Sonic fan. And then I was like, let me introduce you to Sonic Adventure. And then when we started doing the months together, of all people, he was like, hey, do you want to do a Sonic month? And I was like, yeah, I mean, sure, but you haven't really played many of the games at the time. And this is pre-Sonic Frontier. So he was like, yeah, sure, no, I'll go and play them where I can. And honestly, fair play to him, he did. He went out and we did one in the retro age, the modern age, modern age of the time.
Yeah.
The boost age, I don't know what the Sonic revisionists are saying.
Things like Dreamcast era, Boost era, and now modern era. I'm not sure myself. Something like that.
Yeah. So if you look on the website that says modern era, that's what it means, boost era. And I mean, my favourite episode is still us talking about the Dark Age and the positives of that era. I remember at the time, that's when Sonic 2 was coming out and I really wanted to see it. I thought, I can't wait. I booked my tickets. My partner and I were going to go. And then I fell sick with a stomach bug. And you know that scene from The Simpsons where it's Homer wanting to go to Duff Gardens?
Yes.
But he's eating like
the sandwich.
That was like me dragging myself to the car like I have to go see Sonic.
Just pale as a ghost, yeah.
I honestly couldn't, unfortunately, so I had to get a refund and I'm like, I'm going to stay off the internet. And my friend was like teasing me saying, oh my God, you're going to love the ending. And I thought, yeah, sure. And then the reveal of Shadow there, I was like, oh my, because I knew, or I kind of expected that they were going to do Supersonic, so I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Oh my God, is that Shadow the Hedgehog? Is that the space colony Argo? I was honestly popping off. But, I mean, what I find quite interesting about that, and it's exactly what you said, that it's people getting brought back into the franchise because of the films, but what I find quite interesting is how they framed it so it parallels the old games, like especially for Sonic Adventure 2, and it keeps those types of stories in the memory of both old fans and new ones as well, because it's amazing to see people make references about Shadow the Hedgehog story and Sonic Adventure 2 and everything, and it's like, what year were you born?
I feel like Sega and Sonic Team and whoever is dealing with the movies, is Sony Paramount? I'm not too sure, but Sonic 3 especially very much made for the fans first, but to appeal to everyone as well. I mean, they didn't have to add live and learn, they didn't have to stay so true to Shadow's story in a game from 2001, you know, but they still did, and I got a lot of respect for them for doing that. I'm kind of worried about Sonic 4 because it feels like it's going in like a Sonic CD direction, but but that wouldn't make a lot of sense considering we've just done Sonic Adventure 2. I feel like the big reveal for Sonic 4, everyone's expecting it to be Silver, but again, Silver's hugely popular online, but overall, is he that popular? I like him. I think he's a great character. No shade on Silver fans, but I don't know if he has that same appeal as someone like Shadow does. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do.
Because, I mean, if you say you're a Silver fan, you kind of have to admit that you liked parts of Sonic 06.
It's very true. No.
It's like the Russian roulette of who you're talking to. It's like either they're going to go, oh yeah, I agree, or they're going to go, what is wrong with you?
To be fair, though, we had a banging theme tune, Dreams of an Absolution. I've met Bentley Jones quite a few times. They're really cool. Like, I've seen them perform that live multiple times now, and it's great every time, So
yeah.
At least we got that out of Silver.
Because I remember my friend Wisteria Moth and I, we did a episode on Sonic music, and it was amazing to see how it evolved over the years. But I remember when we were talking about Bentley Jones and about how Dreams of an Absolution came out and everything, and they keep releasing different versions of it.
Yeah.
And what I was laughing at was some people had described it as it's like the same song but a different font.
Yeah.
Which there's honestly nothing wrong with that. It's a banging tune every time it comes on. But yeah, honestly, touching on the music there, the music is just absolutely incredible for this franchise, and the amount of fans and things that have put their own spins and whatnot onto it is honestly just incredible. But see, out of curiosity, for the Sonic films, what would be your dream adaptation? See, for a game on the big screen, what would be your dream adaptation?
That is a good question. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I would kind of like elements of different games in one film without it being too sporadic, without it being all over the place, which is obviously very hard to do in like 100 minutes, I would like to see aspects of CD, i.e. Metal Sonic, which is happening, which is great. I would like to see battles on the scale of like Frontiers, that type of villain, like Titans, giant mechs, that type of stuff. Would love to see some implementation of Super Tails and Super Knuckles. I would also love to see kind of like Heroes stuff as well. I would love a live adaptation of like Team Chaotix. I think it'd be really sick. In terms of overall plot, something again like SA2 where there are funny moments, but there are serious moments, but it's not like insanely serious because at the end of the day it's a blue hedgehog, for God's sake. But yeah, I think what they did with Sonic Movie 3, but sort of extrapolate that to a couple of games and try and get them all into one film. Because again, I obviously wish Sonic 4 all success and whatever spin-off happens, but it's not going to be this popular forever, and you're not going to have the budget to do the things you want to do forever. So I feel like they should try and get the kind of stuff done as early as they can, just to try and satisfy the actual fan base. Because the Knuckles show, I mean, it wasn't good. There was like one or two. I really loved the musical episode where they did a whole musical to start. I thought that really funny.
I mean, when they brought out Michael Bolton, I was like, oh my god,
it was sick. It was so yeah, legit. I found it really, really funny. But the overall show wasn't great, but it had a few shining moments. So if they do more spin-offs, which I mean, I know they're talking about it like a Shadow one and stuff, I really hope they learn from Knuckles and make it more character centric, less Wade Whipple,
Yeah.
More Shadow, please.
It doesn't fill me with much confidence, and again, it's something you touched on, the way they treated Gerald Robotnik's character.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were going to get a completely different actor, and then, don't get me wrong, I find bits of it funny, but there was other bits that it felt kind of too, and again, to echo what you were saying, it is a blue hedgehog. I'm not expecting of mice and hedgehogs or something like that, or the Shawshank Shadow or something, I'm not expecting, that is a Knuckles, if you will, but I'm not expecting something like that. But for the story is serious, and they do have serious moments, but some of the stuff, like, again, you have one of the coolest scenes in the franchise where, they do that high five, and or not high five,
the dap up,
the dap up,
man.
Yeah, they just destroy all the robots, and it is honestly one of the coolest moments ever. But then you get that, and then literally a nanosecond later, it's Jim Carrey spanking himself.
Yeah, tonal whiplash, 100%.
I've never gone from a smile to a what?
Legit. I can see what they were trying to do, but Gerald, he was never a comedic character, so it was a very odd choice. And have him alive as well, it was a bit strange. I fully expected Robotnik to go to the Ark and maybe see like a hologram of him or something. I didn't expect him to be like an actual live character that helped him with his plans or whatever and betrayed him. The one or two times Gerald is serious in that movie are his best moments, like, oh Ivo, you're no Maria, or like when Maria's killed as well, like that scene, they're his best scenes. And that's sad because because that means the rest of it's just like a clown show, which is silly for Gerald.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the dance scene. Although, granted, the dance scene will never be as good as see the Sonic Paradox one.
Egg rolled, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Sonic, what you watching there? And it's just nice watching there.
Yeah, and Eggman and Snivelly, yeah. That is our, I also run the TikTok as well. That's our most views. Got 900,000 views on TikTok, that video. We edited it to make it like phone friendly and changed it to nice phone nerds. And there's a couple of fan games like Outcome Memories and Forsaken have egg rolled emotes, and they're based off that short as well.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was super cool. I started getting comments on the TikTok being like, oh, it's the Outcome Memories dance. I was like, what? Explain this to me, because this is what he's talking about. He goes, oh, it's a fan game called Outcome Memories. I have an emote called Egg Rolled, and it's this dance. I was like, oh shit, that's a reference to us. That's really, really cool. And then another game had it as well. So I love that. I love that people are doing little nods to our animations in their fan games. Like, it's super, super cool.
That is amazing. Going back to what you were saying about the films, I genuinely hope that, as you said, they get the best parts of the franchise out. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if they did. And again, obviously, you'd have to retweak a lot of it. But I mean, even if they got elements of Sonic 06 and probably minus the killing Sonic off, because they probably do a fake out of, oh, he's not really dead. Whereas in 06 was like, no, he's dead. He's like, oh.
The attack that almost killed Sonic. That's what they call it in the movie, you know?
Yeah, they're going to have to update that Wikipedia.
Absolutely, you know, it's the most important thing.
The attack that maybe did it, yeah. PG-friendly version of the attack that killed Sonic.
No, the attack that almost destroyed Sonic, that's PG-13. They can't say killed, remember, you know?
Oh, of course, yeah. The 4Kids dub.
Yeah, like calling key energy in the Dragon Ball dubs as well, you know? Yeah. Energy blast, all right.
He's been destroyed. It's like, oh no.
Going to Otherworld instead of Home for Infinite Losers as well, instead of Hell.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Not drinking beer, they're drinking orange juice.
Yeah, and Bulma's dad does not smoke, okay? It's a toothpick. My
favourite one, in fact, there's two I actually have, but one of them was, and I'm not really a big One Piece fan, not because it's a bad show or anything, I just didn't really watch it growing up.
Same.
I remember the videos comparing the original versus, you know, the Japanese dub, and there was one where it's, I think it's Nami, one of the characters, like, her mum gets shot or something, spoilers, but it's an old anime. She gets shot by this shark-looking guy and everything, but in the 4Kids dub, he turns around and goes, take her to the dungeon, and you're like, that mum's never coming back.
The forever dungeon.
Yeah, does Sonic X not do that as well, where it's like, I think it's season 3 where Shadow meets like a space pilot or something, and she gets blown up by the Metarex, the aliens they fight, and in the English dub it's like, Shadow, I have to go now, my people need me.
Putrefied, you know?
It's like, she's not coming back.
Funnily enough, I watched the Space Colony Arc episode of Sonic X where they're trying to stop it from crashing, and I don't know if it's just something I noticed, and I think I'm right. We're watching the 4Kids dub, and you know the way it's Chris who appeals to Shadow instead of Amy on the arc in the anime? He's doing his whole spiel, right? And then it kind of cuts to another angle, and Chris looks like he has like a scuff on his face. So I think in the Japanese version, Shadow whacks him, right? Because in the 4Kids dub, Shadow's like, don't touch me, get your hands off me, but then nothing happens. They just talk. But that cut made me think, I bet in the Japanese version, Shadow slaps him away or something, and they've cut that out as well.
No, there definitely is something like that, because there's a lot of really weird censorship things. I mean, I get in one of the earlier episodes when Sonic says shit when he sees the captain. I get that one, okay, like 100. Let's go. He's got the Vegeta scooter on. It's like, yeah, go. I totally get that. Yeah, that's fair enough. But it's just some really weird ones. Although then again, it's a weird scene when Tails has to kill Cosmo and he's taking a full mental breakdown. And it's like, what were the animators thinking that day? Like, okay, this is what you're putting on your CV. You're going to kill a plant. It's like,
you're going to give a Fox trauma for the rest of his life. Mint.
You're going to be like every DeviantArt user of 2010.
Here comes the fan fix, you know? It's real now.
Weirdest one for me, and I don't understand why they did it, is see when they're stopping the space colony and they do the whole chaos control, and I'll have to admit that was something that I laughed at in one of the shorts, where it's like he does the realizing that the fake Chaos Emerald has the same wavelength and properties as like chaos control, and that's something that's always bothered me, that in the later series they kind of retcon it as, oh, it's more stopping time rather than
teleporting and stuff. But
yeah, in that scene where they stop the space colony. In the Japanese version, they have Live and Learn playing in the background.
They do indeed,
Yeah, they don't have it in the English version.
They don't.
I don't know why.
Gotta be licensing or something. Because why the hell would you omit something like that? You know what I mean? It enhances that scene so much. Like the Japanese version's way better simply because of that music. You know what I mean? Anime dubs and stuff back then had that. Remember, they'd have like one motif that they used in every friggin' scene of every. I think for Sonic X, it was like da 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 da, and then you would just hear that constantly everywhere. And every dub did it. They had like one little hook they would use everywhere. Going back and watching them these days, it's like, my God, please get better music. Goodness me.
Saxophone still haunts me from Rouge.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Exactly that type of thing.
Someone did I can't remember what it was. It was like a edit of the end of Sonic Generations, and you know when they all pop up and they're like, "You've got this, Sonic, on you go." It's like they dubbed it over with just references for the past games. I think it was something silly like Ian Glynn wrote it.
Yes.
Like, you gotta live and learn, Sonic, and all it is. But then when it came to Rouge, it was just she opened her mouth and it was a saxophone that came out. That was
incredible.
I totally get what you mean, though. I mean, this was the same era and generation of anime where they called, is it onigiri, you know, the rice balls, jelly filled donuts.
Yeah, Pokemon, classic, yeah.
Even when I was younger, I was like, I've never seen a jelly filled donut.
I was like, why is this donut white with like a black thing on it? I've never seen a donut like that in my life. You know, that must be a Japanese donut. So even then, even the censorship made you think, well, this is clearly something Japanese, so it didn't even work. And why censor something like that? Just say rice ball? What's wrong with saying rice ball? You know what I mean?
I mean, the weirdest one I saw, and granted I'd stopped watching, I think, at this point, but there's someone that posted this scene where in the original, it's like someone has a massive rice ball and it rolls down the hill and Ash catches it, and then they come tumbling down the hill going, "Oh, give me it back," and haha, that's the joke. He's very hungry. But in the English dub, they change it to a sandwich, and it makes no sense because I don't know if you've tried to roll a sandwich down that
Too
hill,
many corners, you know?
And it's like a big baguette. It's like with all the fillings, and they catch the sandwich, and it's like, why was this necessary?
Gravity and physics don't agree. Like, come on.
Do you think these animators put this on? It's like, I worked on Pokemon, or I worked on Sonic X. Oh, what bits?
Baguette edition, you know?
Yeah, the censorship job.
I'd love to be in those boardrooms when they were saying, okay, we need to censor this because it's Japanese and it's not appropriate. So here's what we're censoring. You know, rice balls are now jelly. Like, to quote our friend AVGN, what were they thinking? You know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely daft, some of the censorship. I'm glad it's eased up these days. I really am. It was mental back in the day.
Because I think that's probably due to a lot of people being in social media more and things and getting more exposed to that. Whereas it's weird to think in the 90s and 2000s, they thought, oh yeah, let's change that to orange juice and things. And again, some of the censorship stuff, you look at the original and go, okay, maybe that wasn't appropriate for kids.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas, although it is weird to think that you've got these Japanese children running around going, oh shit, every time they see a CCTV camera.
Battle hardened kids, that's what they are in Japan, you know, because they've went through all this uncensored, you know, and that's fine for them. But, you know, protect the West's eyes, you know.
Yeah, you got to see tails blow up a plant.
You got things like Samurai Jack, for example. Obviously, that's a Western animation. Genndy Tartakovsky, fantastic series, one of my favorite. There were some pretty heavy things in there. I know a lot of it was robots, but like it was super violent. A lot of adult themes dealing with death and things like that as well. Never censored because it was made in the West, you know. If that's okay, then why wasn't some of this anime stuff okay? Because is it just because it was made by a Western studio? You know, like what was the reasoning behind that? And things like even Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, made for kids clearly, but had a lot of jokes in there for adults, and they got away with that too. So it's like,
kind of ironic because a lot of those shows, at least the ones they bring back, I mean, I remember reading about the Powerpuff Girls, both the live action one they planned and the reboot they brought out. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I'm a massive Powerpuff Girls fan. You know, I was watching more Dragon Ball and Dexter's Lab and things, but from what I saw of it, you're completely right. That kind of era of cartoons, it was, I mean, I'm hesitant to say it was enjoyed by all ages, but I mean, you know, you had Johnny Bravo and things like that, Cow and Chicken, you know, all of those types of shows. And then when they brought it back, I get why they want to go in different directions for certain jokes. But again, otherwise, it feels as if you're going back to that 4Kids mentality of protect the children. Would somebody please think of the children?
Or it's like, oh, well, this is a new generation. They're an internet generation that they love the memes and all that stuff. And when it bleeds into writing like that, like it did with the Powerpuff Girls reboot, it just doesn't work. It's just bad. Because again, if you're trying to implement things like memes into your animation, which takes months to make, gimmick. By the time it comes out, it's outdated and you're just showing your age, you know? And that's one thing I really don't like about modern writing and stuff is things. I mean, bless him, like Sonic flossing in the first movie, he was out of date by the time he did that. You know what I mean?
Oh, actually, fun fact about that scene, when I went to see the second one, I was sat beside this mum and her wee boy. And when they were watching it, you know the scene where Eggman starts flossing?
Yeah.
I'm not joking here. This wee boy got up and started flossing in the middle of the cinema. The mum was so mortified. She's like, sit down now.
Sit. Oh, that is wild. Oh my goodness.
Touching on the meme thing, I think you're right because, and I could be wrong, but I think it was Doctor Who of all things. And I mean, you've probably seen the discourse around people not liking the recent writing. And I think one of the things is because they want to make it, and this was actually baffling because I never really noticed it until people brought it up, that they want to make clippable content as if they're Twitch streamers. And the way they do that is they always focus the characters in the middle of the screen.
Yeah. I saw a thread about this. It's just so they can be easily clipped. They don't have to be edited for vertical. They're just ready to go.
I was shocked because I'm like, no, this is you being, overly critical. And then you watch it and you go, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, like screw the rule of thirds. Everything's in the middle now.
Yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
it.
Because it's like this big wide shot and you're like, oh, okay, great.
Although that middle part looks interesting, these sides don't. I wonder why. That's such a strange decision by a creative person to do that. Feels like Doctor Who by committee at that point. If you're just going, it needs to be clippable, it needs to be, we need to farm memes and all that stuff. When you have that mindset and you're making something, I feel like it's not the right way to make something. Like when we make shorts and stuff, we don't go, we could do this one because someone will clip it, it'll be a meme, We go, that script sounds funny. Does anyone want to animate it? Go for it. And it'll keep us up to date. And if a joke lands, then great. We've never taken an approach of like, we want to be a meme. So like the whole egg roll thing, I'm glad it is a meme, but that was never intended to be one. It just happened. You know what I mean? I love when that happens. Like when it's unintentional, but people kind of attach themselves to it. That's really cool. If I started making content specifically to cater to clip farmers and stuff, my integrity would be out the door, basically,
Doing the Mr. Beast thumbnails.
Yeah, it was the two hands up, with its Sonic's face. Oh, God. Slap, they call it, isn't it? Slap.
Whoop, yeah. You're not wrong there. Speaking of TikTok, the only TikTok that I've ever made, and granted, mine's is a bit of a mix, I just don't have time.
I get you.
Sometimes I put up clips of certain episodes and things, and that's great. I really should do more of that. But I mean, I've got that, I've got some podcast memes on there, I've got old clips from previous things, and if I ever do a Twitch stream, trust me, it's been a while since I've been back in Twitch, but sometimes I'll put it up. And again, it's like you said, I don't think, I'm going to say this like the whole 6'7" thing or whatever. I don't even get it. I know we had our own memes that were nonsensical, but that, to borrow your phrase, old man, it's a cloud. I'm just like, waving it like Grandpa Simpson. I'm like, no.
Legit though, I feel like memes have been distilled and dissolved to their base parts, which is why something like 6'7" becomes famous, because it's so simple. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, our memes are better. Like memes are just memes at the end of the day, but if it does feel like genuine effort was put into memes back in the day, whereas anything can just blow up these days and become one, even if it makes no sense. And it's like, again, it kind of marries into that whole AIification of content and like slop everywhere, and there's constant things being constantly thrown in your face and stuff. It's just like, it's exhausting. I do not envy the young people these days. I feel so sorry for them that they're growing up in the internet like this. It's so bad compared to what it used to be.
Because I mean, it used to feel as if it was kind of contained. When we were growing up, you never saw, I mean, maybe you did, I don't know, in America, but you never really saw salad finger plushies or anything like that. Or
No, I actually met Dave Firth, the guy who made salad fingers a couple of years ago. I'm actually based in Newcastle in England, right? So he did a showing of he made like a salad fingers movie. It was just pretty much a collection of the old stuff. And then he did a showing here for Halloween a few years back, and he was really, really sound. But even then, he was just there to show his movie. He didn't try and sell merch or anything, just him and his movie, and that was it. You got to meet him, got a picture, yada yada. Growing up, you didn't really see internet stuff, as you say, was contained on the internet. You know what I mean? If I made a reference I saw online when I was a kid. People were like, what the hell are you talking about? What does that mean? That makes no sense. Whereas now it's all so intertwined. It's like, even if you're offline, you can't get away from it. And it's like, I don't like that lack of peace. It's really weird.
I mean, the one that really got me was when I was seeing people say, oh, good luck to all the parents taking their kids to the pantomime this year, and you're going to hear a lot of 6-7 jokes. And I was like, okay, this is one of these rage bait things. There's no way they're doing that. And once again, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, they did it. And there's clips of like pantos, them going 6-7, and the kids are losing their minds. And again, no criticism to obviously the children. They are just children.
Yeah.
But it feels bizarre. I can't imagine a meme back when we were growing up, being so mainstream.
Especially in Panto as well. Like Panto is very much an established sort of thing. Yeah, there's crowd interactions and stuff, but they're very specific ones that we know how to respond to. Like adding like modern stuff to Panto, that's bizarre. That's so strange. I don't like it. Not at all. Not a fan.
But I mean, it's as you were saying, it's these types of things that you don't expect to take off, because for some weird reason, and I don't know why I did it at the time, but it's, The Boys, that meme that was going around where it's like you would take a character, they'd be standing there, and then another character would either rush by them or just rush into them, and then they would freeze frame and it would say The Boys, and it would be that song, and some of them were pretty funny. But I remember I made a Kung Fu Panda one, and it got over 1 million views, and I was like, nothing I'm going to make after this will compare to this one shitpost that I put up there. The thing is, it didn't translate into any overnight success or anything, no more viewers or subscribers. It was just sitting there and you're watching it, and it really sinks in, doesn't it, that you can't really, unless obviously you do the Mr. Beast approach or the influencer approach where you distill and basically take out the creativity of it, and you go, okay, here's what's popular,
marketable.
That's the perfect word. Here's what's marketable. But if you just put out your content there, it is hard, isn't it?
Yep, 100% agree. We'll have clips like TikTok's a worse for this. I have a really cool idea, right? There's one a couple of years back where it's a 1-minute song and a 1-minute music video just called Bring Back Chow Garden, and it's Omo Chow just singing about how Sega needs to bring back Chow Garden, right? Made a lot of effort. I took, the Chow menu in Chow Garden where you can rename them and stuff. I redrew the background from that to make it really authentic looking. I drew Omo Chow's face and like synced up his eye glows to like the lyrics and all sorts of stuff. Added the lyrics to it. I was like, okay, this is a lot of effort. This is a good meme. This will do well. And it did really, really badly. You know what I mean? And I'm like, for God's sake, like all that effort. It's not all that effort for nothing, because I enjoyed doing it. You know what I mean? It was a good creative process and I'm proud of what I did, but I wanted more eyes on it because, you want people to see your stuff, don't you? But then I'll just randomly clip up a short from years ago out of context, like a 12-second clip, and that'll just blow up, and I don't know why. The algorithm is very, very strange unless you've got like a whole team of SEO marketing guys behind you who know exactly what to do and when to post. You're right, you're at the mercy of if it decides it's going to be popular or not, and it's so strange.
Other than for the obvious reasons, but do you feel as if social media, in the way that you market Sonic Paradox and all your own work as well, do you feel as if that's changed from when you guys began to especially now in 2026?
Oh, absolutely. We didn't really touch socials that much until we revived Sonic Shorts and stuff over the past couple of years. We used to have like a strict, we're not posting memes, we're not really interacting with people about non-Sonic stuff or non-Sonic Paradox stuff. When we have a video out, we'll post an update on our socials and that'll be that. We had to adapt the past couple of years. It's all been me, so I've got a lot of personal experience in this. I've had to adapt. I've had to start replying to memes with memes and following people and just making up my own stuff and hoping it does well just to get more eyes on us. Obviously managing a TikTok. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I shouldn't have a TikTok. I only have one because of Sonic Paradox. You know what I mean? I've zero interest in it apart from that, but I have to go on there and see what's maybe trending or whatever to see if I can put an SP spin on it and that type of thing. I'm just a regular dude. I've got 9 to 5 outside of all this. You know what I mean? This is just spare time things. But yeah, it feels like this is constant research of trying to be on top of things and trying to like post relevant memes and trying to just keep your name out there and stuff. It's insane. Shorts was a massive deal. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, that type of thing. Because obviously short form content is the boyo these days, because people have no attention spans anymore. And making our content sort of work in a shorts capacity has been a challenge as well. I'll usually just upload a full episode of Sonic Shorts, which is like 10 minutes. And if you go to the analytics, people maybe watch 32 seconds and you're like, well, I should probably cut this into chunks because people aren't even watching the whole thing, and you'd get a lot more eyes on you if you sort of cut it properly and post it properly and schedule it and all that jazz. But again, I haven't got a degree in social media, you know what I mean? This is all just learning by ear, playing by ear. So it's bizarre. It's very, very hard to figure out. It's fun when it works. It's not fun when it doesn't work. But yeah, it's just difficult. Very, very difficult.
Oh no, absolutely. Because I mean, I was one of the probably many millions who decided to get into content creation during the lockdowns. Because I mean, as I said before, I'd kind of dabbled here and there, but nothing really stuck. And by the time I finished the project, I was like, you know what, I'm bored of this. I just want to move on, try something else. Yep. And by 2020, you know, I started Twitch streaming and things with everybody else. And then I kind of moved on at the end of the year to this podcast, which ironically enough has superseded the streaming. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do the streaming all the time, and this is going to be like a side project. And then
took over.
Yeah, you know how that is. It's like, yeah, I enjoyed doing this and talking to people a lot more than going on stream. And it'd be, I mean, obviously other than my friends, which I was grateful for, but the days that they weren't available, you know, it'd be like 1-2 people. And as you said, the amount of effort you put into whether it's streams or videos or things like that. And I'm totally with you about the TikTok thing, because I wouldn't have one either if not for the podcast, because it's just so tiring having to keep up every social media. And again, I'm the same. I'm one person. I do all the editing, the marketing, you know, the recordings and things. I mean, I do enjoy it and everything, but it is a lot of work on top of having a 9 to 5, you know. And I think when people watch your content, you know, they just think, like, have you ever had that where someone goes, oh, Sonic Shorts 10 was amazing, where's Sonic Shorts 11?
Yep. Oh, all the time. All the time. Yep. Casino Calamity was the biggest one for that. And to be fair, I don't blame them because it took 13 bloody years, you know. Somebody will watch volume 10 and immediately comment being like, oh, when's volume 11? And it's like, these things take time, you know what I mean? They take a lot of time and a lot of effort. Our animators, people who work with us, we give them all the time in the world. A lot of our shorts they're just doing in their spare time as well. It's not a job to them either. So it's like, look, if you want to make something and add it to Sonic Shorts, you're more than welcome, but there's zero pressure on you. There's no deadlines or anything. I feel like if we were more of like a business, a well-oiled machine that had employees and stuff, maybe there would be a schedule and things like that. But because we're still very much in that sort of 2005 mindset of just fan animations, just doing it for the crack, but we don't put deadlines on anything. We just go, you know, it'll be done when it's done. That being said, though, we are trying to aim for June for volume 11 because it's obviously the 35th anniversary year and his 35th birthday is on the 23rd of June. So hopefully we'll get something out there by that time. But we'll also have Sonic Shorts 3D as well that's being worked on, and that's quite far along too. So we'll probably get 2 volumes out this year, which is volume 11 and volume 3D. I don't know what we're calling it yet. It could be Sonic Shorts 3D Blast. It could be Sonic Shorts volume 12, but a 3D version, you know, like who knows. And then we're very early in the sort of conceptualization stages of the next musical, which will be maybe Bullet Bedlam has been thrown around, you know, for Bullet Station, but we don't have a solid name for it yet. But again, like all soft deadlines, all sort of in your own time type things. God, if I could do this full time, I would, but it's just not economically viable, you know what I mean? The YouTube makes a small bit of cash. It's not loads considering how many subs and views we have. You have to consider a lot of those subscribers are from back in the day, maybe dead accounts for all we know. But yeah, maybe the dream one day, get it as a job, but for now it's just like, you know, it'll be done when it's done. So please have patience. That's what I say to people. If they go, when's volume 11? I go, sometime soon. No set deadline.
I remember talking to, I think it was the YouTuber I Don't Have a Nose, his words, not mine. He does a lot of Let's Play content and things like that, and that's what he was saying as well, that a lot of people, when he puts out a video, people will come to him and say, oh, that's great, can you do this video game? And then, you know, it takes time to edit and put it all together. And then once that's out, immediately, as soon as it's out, it's like, oh, that's great, when's the next one?
Yeah, more. Yep.
Yeah, I think if people are consuming it for free and everything, do you think that they realise how much work is put into these kind of things?
I feel like people who don't create content, people who don't have podcasts or animate or make music, basically non-creative people, and there's nothing wrong with not being creative. Some people are, some people aren't, you know, that's fine, but they don't see this side of it. They just see the end product, you know. If the end product's good, they want more of it. So I get it, but at the same time, I would love for someone who's constantly asking for volume 11, for example, I would love to sit them down and be like, okay, here's everything that goes into a 20-second short, okay? This is why it's taken so long. Do you understand now? And that's kind of what we'll want to do with the TikTok. Again, my girlfriend Nicole, she's currently working on a PNG tuber model, like Sonic OC. It's quite well drawn, actually. She's been drawing a bunch of poses for it, for, you know, so when you're talking to a mic, it'll move its mouth and stuff. Yeah. And it's that type of thing. But we're going to start interviewing animators who've worked on shorts and Casino Calamity and things like that. Just little short interviews, like a couple of minutes max. But that's something we can make. They can tell their side of the story about animation processes and their thought behind the short that they made, for example, how long it took, that type of thing, which one gives us content, two gives Nicole a bit of a platform as well, because I want to kind of build her up and get her sort of into the Sonic sort of PNG tuber community, and three will give viewers and listeners insight on just how difficult and how long these processes can take. So if I manage to convince one non-creative person to have a bit of patience, then I'll consider that a success, you know?
I mean, you're completely right, though, because, I mean, the amount of people who do PNG tubing and things, it's definitely a lot harder. Like, as someone who's also done it, it's a lot harder than people think. That they say, oh, it's just a case of you get a random PNG and you just speak in front of the camera and you're going to earn millions and millions. I'm manifesting that. Like, please. As you said, when you're actually in those shoes and you're there, you don't realise, especially when it comes to podcasting as well, it's like people say, oh, yeah, it's easy, you sit in front of a mic, or, oh, it's easy, you're just recording for, you know, this video or whatever. And then as soon as you're doing that, you're like, well, that was a lie.
yeah. But again, it goes back to that end product thing. Like, yeah, the end product's great and that's what they see, but they don't see all the edits. They don't see you importing this into Audacity and cutting out my coughs. You know what I mean? They don't see you adding stuff to relevant metadata and tags and stuff. They don't see you making sure the audio quality is as good as it should be. They don't see you researching and getting people for your podcast. You know what I mean? There's so much more behind the scenes that they just don't see. They just see the end product.
To be honest, I think I see Audacity more than my girlfriend, and she'll she'll go to bed and I'm like, I'll be up in a minute.
I tell you what, see Audacity though, what a program, you know what I mean? I've been using it since 2003 or something, and it's never changed in a good way, you know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, huge shout out to Audacity.
Legit, we love you, Audacity.
It's amazing how, I mean, there have been bits and pieces of changes, but it's amazing how it's remained relatively consistent. It's like WinRAR in a way. It's like it's not really changed that much, which honestly, for content creation, it's great to see that there are free programs there, because the amount of people that I've seen, it's something you mentioned earlier about Adobe Flash getting, I mean, I think they U-turned on that decision.
They did. Because of the backlash, they've put it into what's known as maintenance mode, where it'll get security updates but no new features, and they don't plan on discontinuing it anymore. But if they ever do make that decision, they'll let people know way in advance. It's insane that they even thought that was a good idea. The backbone of most popular animations, especially online, are made in Adobe Animate, and I'm not just talking like our stuff, I'm talking, like I said, Smiling Friends and things like that. Really big hitters. I'm pretty sure Has Been Hotel uses Adobe Animate to some extent, you know, A Hell of a Boss, like all that stuff. And to say like, oh, we're just getting rid of it, it's not going to work out. What a fumble. It just goes back to the whole, these big companies are now trying to really push AI on everything, that they don't need their old stuff anymore because AI is going to replace things, or it's going to be better and more efficient, and it's going to make the shareholders more money, you know. And it's like, it's absolutely gross what they're trying to do with generative AI, you know what I mean? That's one thing we will never have, ever, not even as a joke. No AI ever, absolutely not. It's not touching our stuff. If anyone even tries to bring that into our stuff, they'll get kicked out of the group. Simple as that, you know.
Again, this could be a whole episode in itself. But I've done an episode on AI. Yeah, it was the first episode of this year. And I thought, okay, it's going to be, you know, maybe a couple of hours, and I decided to try and be balanced and say, oh, what are the good sides, what are the bad sides? I'm not going to lie, the bad sides heavily outweigh the good sides. And I had to split up the episodes because the raw audio was over 4 hours long.
Bloody hell.
It's the longest I've ever had in an episode like that. I thought, surely it can't get any worse, and usually I do keep them relatively short.
Yeah.
Oh, that was insane to edit. And I was re-listening to bits of it the other day, and I thought, really, is it that bad? And it's like, yeah, they're resurrecting the dead with it, they're taking creative jobs, Coca-Cola's in shambles right now.
Yeah, it's pure polar bears, you know.
Going to Pepsi now. It's like, I did not expect that. No. It's like how Sonic fans felt when they went to GameCube.
legit, you know, poured it away. In my job, I'll just, as I say, it's a generic IT job, okay? The company is trying to push AI, like Copilot, because a lot of big companies are trying to push that, because obviously Microsoft has the monopoly on every business computer ever because of Windows. They're losing money on Copilot, so they're like, oh, hey, business, use Copilots and maybe we'll give you a discount. I don't know what the decision makers are and what is actually being said, but that's what I assume. So me and a bunch of friends in different roles and different sectors have all been been trying to get Copilot pushed on us, and it doesn't help my job at all. It makes my job longer. I could just take Copilot out of the equation, and then I could do my job effectively, like more effectively. In AI's defense, and there is one defense, if you have a business, like let's say a small business, and you train an AI based on your business data and nothing else, yeah, it might actually help you. It might help you answer questions. It might help you improve things, and that's fine. But when it comes to things like generative AI, it just gives people who have no talent. And again, it's not about, I sound up on my high horse or something when I say that. I don't mean it that way. It gives people who were otherwise not interested in actually learning something creative a way, quote unquote, to be quote unquote creative. It's so generic, and it's so like, it's just a machine spitting out something that I've told it to do. There's no heart in it. There's no soul. It's soulless. It's just awful. And the fact that people are losing jobs in the creative industry because of AI is just enough of a reason for me just to halt the whole thing, tell it to go away and disappear forever. It sucks. It really does.
Oh no, 100%. Because in the episode that we did it on, I was saying how I had to, and again, I'm in the same boat. I'm in a generic IT job as well.
Yep.
But I had to go down south to this work conference, and they had a workshop. Again, it wasn't all about AI, but one of the workshops for some reason was about how this particular organisation could implement AI. And there was a lot of interesting implementations already, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't realise how bad it was until it was like, oh, they use it in this charity, this retail place, this conservation movement. And see, for things like that, conservation, and then I know it's ironic considering how much water it uses to begin with, but I thought that was interesting, and I thought, well, at least it's good that there's some positives coming out about it.
Yep.
But then when, as you said, you look at the negatives and you look at people turning around saying, oh, I created this Sonic animation, or oh, I created this video game, and it's like, well, no, you created a proof of concept for one, and not a very good one. And I get the intention initially behind it, but it's the way that, and again, I'm not trying to discourage people from adopting creative outlets and things, no matter how good or bad you are. You know, at the end of the day, it's something of you that you're putting out there. It's your work, and whether you think it's good or not, some people will absolutely love it out there. But the amount of people that I've seen who are jumping on the generative AI bandwagon, and some are just relatively innocent. It's like the Studio Ghibli filters or that kind of thing. It's like, you know, not great, but I wouldn't say, oh, how dare you, you're the devil. But you get a lot of people who are, oh God, it's actually scaring me, because I've seen a lot of people either replicate voices or like especially voices for whether it's podcasts or, you know, the videos where it's like, oh, what if Ryan Drummond voiced Sonic and Frontiers or things like that. The idea behind it, you think, okay, that's interesting, I guess, but I don't know, I would feel uncomfortable personally if someone cloned my voice in AI and then said, oh yeah, let's put your voice, your identity into this project without saying, you know, doesn't feel right.
No, not at all. The fact that voice actors and stuff have to come out and say, look, don't feed my stuff into AI, like you don't have my consent, and it happens anyway, is disgusting, to be honest. If you drew me a really crude Sonic on a post-it note and then used a webcam mic to make him talk and animated it by doing two PNGs together or whatever, and presented me with that as opposed to an AI generated video of Sonic talking with Ryan Drummond's quote unquote voice, like the post-it notes winning every time, you know what I mean? Because you made that. That is yours. That is your effort. You put something into that. AI to me is just, it's that bubble that I want to burst so bad, because like it's just, it feels like every day it's something else. Obviously it was the whole Grok thing at the beginning of January, which is abhorrent, you know what I mean? Obviously it's the video game generating thing with Google Genie at the minute, where, oh, look, I made this playable game world and it's literally just Zelda, and it's like, well, no, that just stole everything from Zelda and put it into a 1 minute walking simulator that isn't a game. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, well, that game's awful and stuff, but like the implication isn't that. The implication is in a year's time, maybe AI will be able to make a fully functional game, but I don't want it to, because then there goes a game studio. It's taken so many things from the creative industry, and it's going to get a lot worse unless there's some sort of regulation or people just realize this isn't the way to be when it comes to creativity. But again, big companies, shareholder profits, that's all they care about because they're business. So we're in a very odd, dangerous time, I would say, for things like this. And I really do hope it would take a turn, but I guess we'll see. Just have to wait and see.
Because I mean, I can see AI being used for streamlining certain more mundane processes.
100%.
But like that's the thing I think people kind of conflate when they say they don't like AI. It's like they're not saying, oh, it's not got a use. Although if it disappeared, I don't think anyone would really complain. But people are sitting there saying, oh, you think that it should be gone entirely. But it's like, if you're using it for a positive thing like that, or fixing code or whatever, I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm a game developer developer. I mean, they've got RPG Maker. I tried that years and years ago.
Yeah, same. Game Maker as well, yeah.
Yeah, Game Maker, that's the other one.
Classic.
You can put coding into it, but it requires zero coding.
Mm-hmm.
But comparing that to people saying, oh, we want a 100% AI-generated game. I was actually speaking to my girlfriend about this when the McDonald's advert came out.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't for it, but she was saying it's always going to kind of be here, whether we like it or not, because as you said, all these corporations are, with Copilot and whatnot, they're, really pushing the AI stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop but think for the McDonald's one that, you're losing things like a director, a writer, someone to film it, a cameraman, someone to look after the equipment. You've got caterers and things like that who will obviously be on site, putting money into the local economy of wherever they're filming, that kind of thing. And it's all for the sake of, oh yeah, Christmas sucks, buy our burger.
Legit. And that sort of complacency that your girlfriend is displaying there is happening in my family too. You know what I mean? I don't blame them at all because they don't deep dive into things like we would. So when they go, okay, I respect that you don't like AI, but it's going to be here, that sort of attitude is very much taken over. And it sucks that it is, because how do you resist against that tidal wave of people who are not in these fields just being like, it's here, may as well use it. An example would be my sister made an AI picture the other day of her baking cakes or whatever and put it in the family group chat. And I was like, oh, it's finally infected the group chat, and I could have a whole rant about how it's messing up creativity and stuff. I mean, I love them the best, but they're not going to care as much as I would about something like this.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's hard to convince that person to go, actually, maybe I shouldn't be using this.
Because I mean, again, it is the way that you look at things differently when you're on the other side of that field. Like, I mean, it will be for you, whether it's for music or animation and things like that. Is it Suno or Sono?
Suno, that's the music one. Yeah.
I've never used it, but I've played about with it to see how bad it is.
Know your enemy, you know what I mean? You have to know how it works. So I play with it as well, I fully admit that. I've never released anything with it, but I have played with it.
And I was genuinely surprised that, although there are bits and pieces you go, that doesn't sound right, it is amazing how good it can sound at times. Like, obviously, not compared to someone who's writing it from scratch or doing their own composition or whatever, but the fact it sounds so real at the touch of a button. Because, I mean, you've even got websites that make podcasts and things. And again, you think, well, for the average person, and that's what I worry about for future generations, that they are going to see this type of behaviour being displayed. I can't even remember what channel it was, but there was a channel that was purely AI content, and they were earning millions of dollars from it purely by pressing a button and generating all of these, and they were probably getting circulated in all those old people groups on Facebook and things. It's like, oh, look at this funny monkey and everything. It's like, no.
Or Jesus saving an NFL player or something, things like that. Yeah.
I God, Jesus was there on the game day.
Yeah. God, yeah. Old people Facebook is the worst. It's the
absolute
worst.
Really is.
A sort of dilemma as well. Not a dilemma, kind of experiment I did was, so I obviously make music for SP, but I have my own music projects as well. Fully complete songs, lyrics, all instruments done, fully mastered, yada yada. I threw one of them into Suno and I was like, make, let's say, a heavy metal version of this song, right? It spat out a really, really good heavy metal version of the song, but it's still using all my original composition, all my stuff, it's just replaced the instruments. And I can see a lot of sort of indie bands and bands who don't have a lot of budget or whatever doing that to enhance what they already have. And that's scary because if you then take like the stems from something like Suno, get rid of the AI singer or whatever, but take the stems and then add them to your original composition, so only little bits of it are AI. How far is too far? Will people actually notice? You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing as well. And that's scary too, because then somebody could produce a load of stuff that you think is completely authentic and it's just not. But you'll never know, because it's getting to that point that it's so good that you don't know, especially on the music side of things. So again, not cool, not a fan.
Even on TikTok and things, you'll get a popular viral song and it's like, oh, this is actually quite catchy. And then everyone's like, yeah, it's AI.
Legit, yeah. AI artists in top Spotify charts and all, and you're like, that's insane. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insane.
It's absolutely wild, because even I use Pixabay for royalty-free music and things. If I'm ever doing a backtrack for any short episodes that I'm doing, I think, okay, put a bit of music in there so people aren't bored. But then when I'm looking now, they've got tags for AI-generated music in there. And I'm like, well, I could easily just log into Suno and just do them as it. Yeah, exactly. I feel as if a lot of the people who are pushing this and saying, oh, it's the future and things, that they are very much in the same mindset of, the NFT bros and things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the future. You don't own it because you screenshotted it. And it's like, okay.
It's like crypto bros in general as well. I feel like crypto and AI usage go hand in hand. You know what I mean? It's always about pushing the next meme coin, pumping this. You're going to make millions of dollars. Nobody ever does. There's like 2 or 3 winners in any of those situations, and they're the ones who started it. And I feel like they marry quite well into each other because they're both really scammy. You know what I mean? Really dishonest. Unfortunately, that's the way a lot of the internet works these days. You know,
It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is $sign Sonic Paradox coin is going to be taken off anytime soon.
see if that ever happens, you'll know I've been hacked. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Funny enough, I think that happened to
Games Cage.
Oh, so it did, yeah.
Put that AI picture of him up with the $sign Sonic behind him on his sign. It was so funny, man. Oh my god, it didn't even look like him. It was hilarious.
I mean, between him and I think it was Bruce Campbell recently, he was pumping $sign Groovy coin or something, and everyone was like, "Surely you're hacked," and he was. Fortunately,
Good.
this is actually ridiculous. You know, the fear that someone's going to be like, "Oh yeah, $sign Chatsunami coin, that's never going to be a thing. I'm just going to put my foot down now. That's never going into crypto." But yeah, the amount of people who are just like, "Let's pump the value." Honestly, I feel like an old man when I talk about crypto.
What are the economics of this coin? I don't know.
It's like, I understand the idea, but just not how it works and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a blockchain and a Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and they go together, and
It's all just smoke and mirrors. Another example, which was unfortunately a real example, the guy, Brody Fox, the guy who does the Yo Mama videos,
Oh, yeah.
animations. Now, I've never been a fan of the guy in terms of his anime. I don't really watch them, but I can respect someone who's making original animation, and I always will. But recently, past couple of weeks, he started pushing like a Brody coin or Yo Mama coin or something, and everyone again thought he was hacked, because naturally that's where you go when a creator starts acting like that. But he hasn't been hacked. He's went all in on hawking crypto coins, and it's like, you have a respected fan base, you've got a lot of views, you're doing pretty damn well, and you're going to throw it all away just for a coin that's going to die in a week. You know what I mean? I lose a lot of respect for established creators who just start going down that road. It's purely a money making exercise. It's no longer about the craft. It's no longer about creativity. It's about getting your bag and leaving.
I can understand people like Logan Paul or was it the Hawk Tuah girl? Or the Hawk Tuah woman,
I guess they're beyond redemption anyway. You know what I mean? They're just awful people.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's like they put out a coin and everything, and you can see it a mile off. This is going to be a scam, and then it is, and then they complain, no, it wasn't. It was a legitimate business venture, and it's like, yeah, funny how that works when it's not your money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, you've got them, and you think, okay, I expected it from you, but then you look at the OG community of YouTubers and things like that. Again, I see what you mean. Those particular creators that, although their kind of thing gets old quite fast, there's only so many your mama jokes you can really listen to in quick succession before you're like, okay, I get the gist.
Do you know what I found the funniest one though? The 6'7" kid made a 6'7" coin, and the
no
dude's like
way.
14. So he went on Twitter, it's like at real 6'7" kid or whatever, and then started pushing this 6'7" coin. It's like, are you serious? Is this how far we've gone? This awful meme is now a coin being pushed by some child. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? Stop.
This will sound like a really weird old man thing to complain about here, but it does almost feel as if a lot of memes that come out nowadays are just there to be monetized.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we can enjoy Can I Has Cheeseburger or, you know, as silly as they were, or Bad Luck Brian, you know, the kind of old top text ones.
Scumbag Steve, yeah.
I mean, you can't enjoy them anymore as just, oh, it's a funny meme. And even in the old people Facebook groups, you would have them circling about, but you thought, okay, it's a harmless meme. But nowadays, it's like, yeah, go to the moon with this one. And do you know what really irritates me? One of my favourite indie games is called To the Moon.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. It's like a 2D pixely type game.
Yeah, ironically enough, an RPG maker as well.
Nice.
But it is so emotional, but it's such a good experience. But every time I try to advertise that episode that we did on it, or I'm commenting under a post to be like, oh, To the Moon, it's a
Bots?
great game. Yeah, it's between the bots, and it's like, see if you look at the GIFs, it's all the doges and the, oh, look at this coin, To the Moon. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about an indie game. I have no patience for your crypto coin here. Bugger off.
Legit. It's why I don't use hashtags that much or tag anything, because it just invites bots, you know what I mean? I expect crypto bots are the worst, because like I say, any sort of phrase that is related to crypto, they will latch on and start just spamming your comments, you know? It's insane.
I mean, it's the same with especially artists when you ask for a commission. And I've got really lucky because I've got 2 artists that I use that are absolutely brilliant. You know, I'll message them and they'll go, all right, you want the red panda again? I'm like, yeah, just the usual, thank you.
Yeah.
But I remember one time I was looking for someone to do a theme song for Chatsunami, because I was kind of, I still use it sometimes, but I was using royalty free, and it's just me saying, oh, welcome to Chatsunami. But I've started using more of the updated version. And I really wanted to see, oh, can someone make a theme song for the podcast? And then the amount of people saying, yes, I can draw this for you.
You can draw music, you madman.
It's like, no, I want a theme song. And it's, no offense to the legitimate artists, but those GFX artists, and it's the exact same template. I don't know what they use, but they must use the exact same program because they look identical.
Yeah.
There was even one, there was like a business, I think it was in Glasgow or somewhere, and they posted it on Reddit, and they're like, oh, look at my cool logo. And don't get me wrong, it was a decent enough logo, but it's, that stereotypical Twitch streamer.
I can see it in my head. Metallic font with the outline. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, lightning coming out of it.
Yep.
Every teenager nowadays who streams on Twitch.
Yep.
But in all seriousness, it is absolutely fantastic that yourself and Sonic Paradox as a whole is still making content like that nowadays.
Yeah, we're really glad that we can. We're so proud of the newer generation as well who do shorts with us, because like I said earlier, the fact that they grew up with us and now they're working with us as well is just the ultimate sort of reward for doing this. For me, because it shows that we've indirectly given someone the inspiration, indirectly fostered that idea when they were younger for them to do something creative as they're older, and now we can actually celebrate that with them, and it's so cool. I love when a new artist joins us and their art or their animation is really, really good. It's just like, wow, I couldn't do that in a million years.
It is fantastic to see the benchmark of quality just keep going up and up and up throughout the years, because you're right, you go to YouTube nowadays and you see some absolutely fantastic shorts and just these animation wonders. Something that you touched on earlier about I think I know the guy you're talking about, the one who did the Sonic Adventure pose or something.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Sonic standing on the beach and he turned around, and again, you're right, it's completely movie quality, and you're sitting there going, oh my god, between the fight scenes that people have done, even the stuff that's been inspired by other works in the past, especially all the Nazo stuff, I couldn't believe that, when I'm like, how is that still, in a good way, but I couldn't believe how relevant it still was.
Absolutely.
But between your stuff, it is just fantastic to see, to be quite honest.
You know, it's great as well, the guy who did the Sonic Adventure pose, again, Lixes, I believe it's how you pronounce it. We have him for Sonic Shorts 3D as well, so he's made something for us. We previewed it at a recent convention and it got a lot of laughs. And there's another guy who has done a Shadow the Hedgehog movie shorts in 3D, and I swear the models he uses, it looks movie quality. It's actually insane. When we were showing it, I was like, this is seriously going to be on one of our shorts. This is incredible, so it's really cool that we're branching into 3D. Like Boozerman is the one looking after 3D shorts and he's done really well with it. But yeah, that's going to be sick when that comes out.
I cannot wait to see those when they come. I'll be watching my notifications like, I wonder when it's coming out.
Hell yeah.
But I promise after it's done, I won't comment underneath like, when Sonic 4D blast.
No, do it, and I'll heart it as Sonic Paradox and pin it, alright?
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind when it comes.
Everyone else can be like, why has he got pinned? I was like, you wouldn't understand, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah. I'm just a joker in the back, you wouldn't get it.
Legit. Watch this podcast episode and you'll understand.
But on that note, Tyronic, thank you so much for coming on today and talking about all things Sonic, content creation, and it's been an absolute blast talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you too, and you're very welcome. I'm glad I finally got this sorted, and thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because that is the worst thing I would say about podcasting when you're trying to
schedule it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you think, oh, it'll be easy. Yeah, we'll just get a day here and there, and then it's always something comes up, whether it's with the guest or myself, and I'm like, oh God, can we not just get one day? And again, no fault to the guest or whatever, but it's always something that pops up, and you're like, oh yay.
Sometimes you just gotta lock in and be like, okay, right, it's this time. Can you make it? Then that's
it's like it's now or never, non-edited. Just let's go.
Yeah, just talk. Damn it.
Go. But before we wrap up, where can the amazing Pandalorians listening at home find your content? And I know they'll probably know with the Sonic Paradox, but just overall, Sonic Paradox, yourself, where can they find all that?
Yeah, well, mostly YouTube, Sonic Paradox. I believe it's just at Sonic Paradox for obviously Sonic Shorts and things like that. TikTok's the _ Sonic Paradox _ team. In terms of my own stuff, I'm just Tyronic everywhere, so TER0NIK. Personally, I only post things I do for SP, usually like music. I'll have the odd personal project, but my channel takes a backseat to SP, and that's why I like it. I like being in the shadows sometimes, you know what I mean? Just repping.
How ironic.
Funnily enough, just repping the brand rather than anything. But if anyone listening hasn't hasn't seen Sonic Shorts, start with volume 9, I want to say, because that's 40 minutes long, and then you'll get a good feel of what you're in for.
Absolutely. But yeah, if you want to listen to more episodes from ourselves, then of course you can check us out at our website, chatsanami.com, as well as all good podcast apps. I also want to give a huge shout out to our Pandalorian patrons, Robotic Battle Toaster, Ghostie, and Cryptic1991. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And if you would like access to exclusive content, as well as our 10-hour rant about the rest of the Sonic series, for legal reasons, that last one's a joke, indeed, you can check us out at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Chatsunami. This podcast is a proud member of the Podpack Collective. For more information, check us out at our Twitter/X page at Podpack Collect. But until next time, thank you all so much for listening. Stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.